To implement the mass killing of Jews, Hitler and his chief assistant in carrying out the plans, Heinrich Himmler, chief of the SS and Black Shirts, begin discussions in the summer of 1941 to carry out the operations that require the involvement of all parts of the German government and cooperation of non-Germans. Death squads within the SS would run the concentration camps and carry out the killings. But Himmler absolved them of responsibility, informing members of the death squads that Hitler and Himmler took full responsibility for the elimination of Jews. As Hilberg points out in his book, Hitler planned as early as 1919 to eliminate the Jewish problem. When he assumed power, he waited until the start of World War II to carry out his plans. In March of 1941, in addition to giving orders of the creation of the Special Duty Troops to eliminate Jews behind German lines in the USSR, once Germany invaded, he also told Hans Frank, the German administrator of Central Poland, that he would prepare for the elimination of Jews from Poland. On July 31, 1941, Heydrich received word from above that plans needed to be prepared to carry out the final solution of the Jewish question. Administrative responsibility for coordinating the final solution went to Heydrich and Adolf Eichmann, his specialist in Jewish affairs. Earlier, in March 1941, Himmler gave orders to enlarge Auschwitz to handle a much larger population. By the summer of 1941, German authorities decided on Auschwitz concentration camp as the major death camp because its railway access, and a decision had been made to use poison gas camouflaged as showers, as had been used with German mental patients. During 1941 and early 1942, Germans experimented with different methods of using poison gas in order to find the most efficient way of killing large numbers of people. As one example of an experiment, on October 27, 1941, a black van stopped at a Jewish old people's home in Kalisz, Poland, and loaded the elderly. The van was specially fitted with piping to carry carbon monoxide to kill the passengers. By early 1942, using mobile vans to kill Jews appeared an inefficient method to kill large numbers of victims. Creating killing centers like Auschwitz and bringing Jews to the camps appeared a much more efficient method of elimination. Even before German officials met at Wannsee to coordinate the Holocaust, Germans established the first death camps at Chelmo near Lodz in Poland in December 1941. Initially, Germans still used gas trucks, but experiments had already begun with a method more efficient than carbon monoxide. In September 1941, Zyklon B was tested on Russian POWs at Auschwitz. A more systematic use of Zyklon B as the chief killing agent started in January 1942. Heydrich, who chaired the Wannsee Conference, sent out invitations to key players in November 1941. The invitation made clear that all relevant agencies of the German state must participate in the final solution of the Jewish problem. The meeting convened on January 20, 1942. Heydrich told the representatives of German agencies that Hitler now banned Jewish emigration. The war against the Soviet Union opened up a new opportunity to solve the Jewish problem by resettlement in the East. Jews would face elimination by work and then by more extreme methods. Emphasis was to be placed on eliminating the Jewish population of the general government, meaning killing Polish Jews had highest priority and needed to be done as quickly as feasible. Participants discussed the various methods of eliminating the Jews and debated the most efficient. In the wake of the meeting, plans were made to enlarge other concentration camps. Seizing millions of Jews and deporting them to killing centers required several major steps. German authorities would need to approach foreign governments and persuade them to deport their Jews for elimination. Rail lines and freight cars needed to be acquired to move the Jews from foreign countries, as well as from Germany and the ghettos of Poland. The Germans needed to move from mobile killing units to large stationary facilities that could handle large numbers of people and quickly process them. It would become more difficult to camouflage than the killings tied to the invasion of the Soviet Union. Needed to finalize the killing centers, whose sole function would become the killing of as many Jews as could be found, transported, and eliminated. One problem emerged: what to do with the people of mixed ancestry and those married to Jews. 75,000 Germans had Jewish spouses, and 130,000 fell into a mixed category known as Mischling. To avoid problems with non-Jewish relatives in Germany and Western countries like the Netherlands, a decision was made to postpone their deportation until all full-blooded racial Jews died. However, in Poland, Eastern Europe, and parts of Central Europe, people of mixed Jewish racial ancestry were eliminated along with racial Jews. German authorities did not feel they needed to be as sensitive to the opinions of non-Jewish relatives in the East the way they felt they needed to move more slowly in Germany and Western Europe. As a consequence, people of mixed ancestry died in the East, but many survived the war in Germany and Western Europe. Belzec was the first camp with stationary gas installations. It was opened in March 1942. Those who arrived here were told it was a transit camp for resettlement. German and Ukrainian guards told them to take off their clothes and enter the showers. The gas killed their victims in 15 to 20 minutes. Ukrainian auxiliary guards stole what they could, watches, etc., and sold them in the nearest town to non-Jews. Ukrainians proved useful in pushing the Jews from the trains to the gas chambers. Belzec was one of 4 killing centers. No Jews returned from these camps, since their only mission was mass murder. The others were Chelmo, Treblinka, and Sobibor. 2 other camps, Auschwitz and Majdanek, combined slave labor camps with major killing fields. Dr. Joseph Mengele became infamous as the doctor of death who selected those to be killed immediately and those to be worked to death. Between the summer of 1942 and the fall of 1944, of any given group of Jews that arrived in Auschwitz, 70 to 90% were immediately killed. The remainder were sent to work to death at other camps, like Bergen-Belsen, Buchenwald, Dachau, Gross-Rosen, Mauthausen, Ravensbrück, or any of the 980 concentration camps created by the Germans. By the end of the war, about 6 million Jews were murdered. 250,000 to 500,000 gypsies, at least 3 million Russian POWs. Most of the Jewish victims killed came from the Soviet Union, Poland, Hungary, and Romania. Researchers have cataloged 30,000 slave labor camps, 1,150 Jewish ghettos, 1,100 POW camps, 500 brothels with sex slaves, and other camps for euthanizing the elderly and infirm, performing forced abortions, and Germanizing prisoners. The magnitude of the Nazi enterprise from 1933 to 1945 has only recently been fully understood and documented by researchers at the United States Holocaust Memorial Museum, and their findings were discussed at the German Historical Institute in January 2013 in Washington.